Welcome to this week's episode of Analyzing Chazal. This week we'll be discussing Parshas Kiseitz. Before we start analyzing the pasuk and the commentary, I just want to start with a small introduction. My Rebbe, Rav Henach Leibowitz, told us a story about Rav Yoshua Leib Diskin, who was the Rav of Brisk. On Yom Tov, it was the custom of all the people in the city to go to the home of the Rav and to wish him a good Yom Tov, and he in turn would tell them a Dvar Torah. One year after they had all gone to see the Rav, they told each other over the Divrei Torah they heard from him. It turned out that he had given each of them a different explanation in the same line of Tosfos. I am mentioning this story as an introduction, as when we come to analyze the words of the Rishonim and Acharonim, there are multiple different ideas that can be learned from the same piece. Today, I will show you just such a case where we will be able to learn two totally different ideas from the same sforno. Let us start with the pasuk. The pasuk says, "Ve'isira es simla shivyo me'eleha, ve'yashva beveisecha, uvachsa es avio ve'es imo yerach yamim, va'achar kein tavo eleh ubalta, va'isal lechal isha." She should remove the fancy clothes that she was wearing when she was captured, and sit in your house and cry for her father and mother for 30 days, and then you can marry her. Let us just try to explain the pasuk. The Torah is describing to us the laws that apply to the Yafas Toar, who are women who were used by the Gentile armies to seduce the Jewish soldiers. If one of these women was captured and the Jewish soldier wants to marry her, she must go through a routine of mourning, and only after its conclusion can the Jewish soldier marry her if he still desires. The pasuk here describes the last part of the process, which is her mourning over her parents for 30 days. This sforno, on the words uvachsa es avio ve'es ima, explains the reason this was necessary was shetazvem v'tisyashev bazeh b'data shelo lachshov bam od. She should leave them and resolve this in her mind that she should not think about them anymore. Well, what is the explanation of this sforno? This sforno is explaining that the Torah tells us that the Yafas Torah has to go through a process of forgetting her parents through mourning to know that she will not be returning to them as she is converting, even though they are not dead. The reason for this would seem to be so that she would not be drawn back to her life as a Gentile, and would fully be able to take on her new life as a Jew with all its requirements. The question: it seems from the sforno that this woman, if she would be thinking about her parents, would keep her connected to her life as a Gentile and an idol worshiper, which would prevent her from fully taking on her new life as a Jew with all its requirements. This is difficult to understand, as why would just thinking about her parents cause her to connect to her prior life and prevent her from fully taking on her obligations as a Jew? A person's memories should not prevent them from making changes in their lives. Well, let's see the answer. As we explained last time, the answer comes directly from the question. In this case, the question was, can a simple memory of a person's past truly impact their future after they make changes to their life? The answer is, of course, yes. And the sforno is teaching us that we truly underestimate the power of memories. The memories we have from our youth, even if distant, can still have the potential to draw us back to a world we have long ago abandoned. Well, let's see the practical application. In our lives, most, if not all of us, went through stages in our lives where we did things that we would not necessarily do today after we have grown in our avodas Hashem. However, if those memories are still with us, the Yetzer Hara has the ability to tap into them, and even as a one-time occurrence, get us to do something we had done in the past, even though we thought we have long abandoned those actions, never to return. It is therefore very important that we always remain on guard and try not to think about the past. And if we do, to remind ourselves that the things we had done then are not worthy to be emulated, and that will help prevent us from chas v'shalom falling into the trap of the Yetzer Hara. Well, now let us look at the second idea we can glean from the sforno. Here's the question: If we look at the flip side of the same sforno, we can now ask a different question. The sforno says that this woman should cry and mourn for 30 days and remove all thoughts of her parents to never think about them again. Sforno seems to say that a person can, after 30 days, totally remove the memory of her parents to the extent that she will never think about them again. We are not talking about a 4 or 5-year-old who barely knew her parents. This is at least a teenager, if not older, who probably had very solid memories of her parents and her life with them. Is it possible that after 30 days of thinking that she will never see them again, enable her to never think about them again? The answer, as we said, the answer comes directly from the question, which was, is it possible that in a 30-day period, a person can cause themselves to totally forget about their past to such an extent that they will never think about it again? The answer is apparently yes. A person has the ability, if they focus on it, to actually remove something totally from their mind to such an extent that they will never think about it again. Practical application. In our lives, we all have things we saw, heard, or did that might not have been very good for us. That even now, years later, our Yetzer Hara can tap into them and make us think about these bad thoughts in the middle of davening, learning, or even when we are just relaxing. It is very hard to prevent these thoughts from popping up. But if we make a concentrated and maybe long-term effort to remove them from our subconscious mind, we can successfully remove these thoughts and our connection to them from both our conscious and subconscious minds. In summary, we saw today how within one Chazal we are able to glean 2 phenomenal lessons that can help us navigate our daily lives. See you next week for Parshas Ki Savo.